The following podcast is sponsored by Structure Tech.
It seems like you should just be able to go to the store and get a smoke alarm and be done with it. But it's really tough to figure out what you want. I mean, you go there, it's going to be like an 8-foot wide bay by, 8 feet tall.
So many options.
And yeah, what the heck are you supposed to pick out?
Welcome, everybody. You're listening to Structure Talk, a Structure Tech presentation. My name is Bill Ulrich, alongside my co-hosts Tessa Murray and Ruben Saltzman. And on today's podcast, we're going to talk about some safety systems in your home and just clear the air about a few things. And we're going to jump into this right away talking about smoke detectors.
What? Did you say smoke detector?
Yes.
Hold on.
Smoke detectors.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I just saw the fire in Ruben's eyes.
All right,
Well,
we're going to have to restart this whole show, Bill. Okay, go on.
Well, we're going to talk about smoke detectors and carbon monoxide alarms and various things.
You mean CO2 detectors?
All right, now we're just being silly.
What are they? Carbon dioxide alarms?
I'm about to walk out of here, Bill.
Pushing every button Ruben has right now.
Yeah, it's like, you ever watch that? There's a YouTube video. It's like Make Dad Mad video. It's like people putting in batteries backwards and appliances and all the stuff that just makes your skin crawl. Yeah, it's smoke alarm, Bill. It's a smoke alarm. Now, a detector is an old word. A lot of people still say smoke detector, but the detector really only refers to a device that detects smoke. When you say smoke alarm, it's a device that has a detector built in, and it also has an alarming device. Now, when you have a monitored system in a commercial building, they will have remote smoke detectors, and then they will have sirens that go off if it detects smoke. And maybe it'll even contact the fire department. Who knows? But
that may have happened once in my youth while living in a downtown apartment. We won't go there.
That's a different podcast.
2 a.m. when the door was being pounded on by somebody.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I digress.
So yeah, we're talking smoke alarms. And no, you got the other part right. CO alarm or carbon monoxide. And Tessa, you're giving me a hard time because we don't tolerate CO2 alarms.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
Yeah. It's usually when parents come to the inspection. And
a lot of real estate agents say CO2 detectors too.
Sure. It's CO, carbon monoxide, mono.
Okay, so let's dive into these smoke detectors. Oh God, I forgot already.
We should put a shot collar in Bill every time he says smoke detector.
Okay, so what are we dealing with? What's on the shelf when we go to the big box store to protect our loved ones from catastrophic event in their home at night?
It seems like you should just be able to go to the store and get a smoke alarm and be done with it. But it's really tough to figure out what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you go there, it's going to be like an 8-foot wide bay by 8 feet tall.
So many options.
And yeah, what the heck are you supposed to pick out?
Yeah.
They're all just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
The most expensive one, then you'll be safe for sure.
Well, that'd be
Probably.
nice, but not always. And let's start with the basics. Number one, there's 2 different types of smoke alarms.
Ionization and photoelectric.
That's right. Now, the ionization ones, the benefit to those is they go off a lot faster if you have a flaming fire. If you actually have something that's burning and you've got big flames, it'll go off like 30 seconds faster. So it's not a big difference, but that is where they perform better.
I didn't realize it was 30 seconds faster.
It depends on the type of fire.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of giving an average, but it's not much.
Yeah.
And they say if it's a fast flaming fire, every second counts. So they
Right.
kind of make a big deal out of these 30 seconds.
Yeah, sure.
But the thing where I don't think this matters all that much, when you have a big, fast flaming fire, if you're going to be alerted by your smoke alarm, this is where you don't have a lot of smoke leading up to the fire. It just flashes over. It's usually going to be something that happens in the kitchen. It's usually going to be an attended fire where you know about it. The smoke alarm isn't telling you got a fire. You're already aware. So I personally, I don't think that's a huge benefit. Now, with photoelectric smoke alarms, those go off a lot faster when you have a slow smoldering fire. That's the type where You know, if you got a smoker in the home and they leave a cigarette burning in bed or something like that, or maybe a space heater tips over, something like that, that's going to be the slow smoldering kind.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say a lot of houses today with all the furniture and the carpets and the materials we use in new construction, it'll smolder for a long time first. You
Yeah.
don't have those big flames.
They'll generate a lot
Yeah.
more smoke. Yep. And then when they do erupt into flames, they burn
Yeah.
a lot faster
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Does anybody smoke in their house anymore?
I sure hope not, but you know what? People do. We go into those homes,
Yep.
and you know what's funny? You walk up to those homes, you can smell it outside the house.
Yeah.
You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry to digress, but back in the day when I did do home inspections, there was a guy who was asking me, he's like, we really love this house, we love this location, but there was a heavy smoker in the house. He's like, how do I get the smell out?
Good luck.
I
They
can
actually-
tell you from personal experience.
Can you?
Oh, yeah. I bought a home like that back in 2004. Heavy smokers, rolled his own cigarettes.
Wow.
And he smoked inside the house, and those walls were yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to be
Yeah.
white, they were yellow. And everything got moved out, and we got a crew in there, like me, my parents, my wife, a bunch of friends, and we got 5-gallon buckets of water and TSP or something like TSP. I know you're not supposed to use TSP anymore. It was a different time. And we would scrub these walls down with sponges, and I mean, as you'd pull your sponge down, it just changed the color instantly.
Gross.
And you'd put the sponge in the water and you'd wring it out, and the water would just turn yellow, like disgusting.
So
have
you were
to-
able to save the drywall? You didn't have to.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. I mean, it probably had like 30 layers of lead paint underneath all of this. And so all we
Wow.
did was we cleaned
Washed
it really
everything.
well, washed down all the surfaces, painted with like 2 layers of kills.
Wow.
And then painted with whatever color
about
paint
the
we
floor?
wanted. Before we moved in, we had them all sanded down and refinished. And by the time we were done, I mean, there's nothing.
And the
There's no
ductwork, you probably
exposed
had
surface.
ductwork all cleaned
I had the ductwork
out and-
cleaned. Yeah.
I wonder
That was
which is
about it.
harder, to remediate a smoker's house or a house that had an
fire?
intense smoky fire inside of it.
I'm gonna guess a fire.
I would
I
guess
don't know
that
for
too,
certain,
but I don't know.
Damage restoration company would certainly know.
Wow,
Yeah.
in
Future-
7 minutes
We
we
should
got
have
through one. We went through
We're not even done. We haven't even talked
Oh.
about the benefits of
Yeah.
photoelectric.
We got to talk about photoelectric.
You didn't even
alarms.
explain what photoelectric is.
You're right. Oh man.
We got on a tangent.
All right.
Let's jump away for just a quick second, and you can digest what ionization smoke alarms are now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk all about photoelectric smoke alarms.
Hi everyone, Bill Ulrich here with Structure Talk. Do you live in a home that has a homeowners association attached to it? Here's an interesting nugget. In 2019, Minnesota passed a law that requires all HOAs have a preventive maintenance plan in place. What's that, you say? I know, right? And what's necessary is clear as mud. At Structure Tech, we put together an affordable solution to help HOAs meet this obligation. If your association isn't talking about this, they should be. Check out how we can help at structuretech1.com. We've been working closely with management companies all year to come up with a win-win-win to meet this new requirement. Let us know if we can help at structuretech1.com.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Structure Talk, a Structure Tech presentation. My name is Bill Ulrich, and I'm here alongside Tessa Murray and Ruben Saltzman, and we're here poking the bear, talking about smoke detectors. And right before the break, we explained what a I did that on purpose.
We need that shot collar.
Right before the break, we explained what an ionization smoke alarm is. So, Ruben, fill us in on what photoelectric smoke alarm is.
So photoelectric responds to slow smoldering fires much faster. And when I say much faster, I'm talking like 15 to 20 minutes faster.
That's statistically significant.
Yes.
This is
It's life or
huge.
death.
This is life or death. Yeah. I mean, and I've got these videos on our website. You know, they do these tests. Fire departments will put a soldering iron on a couch and they'll let this room fill with smoke. And it gets so smoky you can't even see across the room. And the one thing, there's a video that Tessa and I always show at these classes we teach. And the one thing that's not included in that video is what happens with the carbon monoxide levels. This room is filling with carbon monoxide to a really dangerous level. People get so sleepy from that.
Yeah.
Even when the smoke alarms eventually do go off,
Yeah.
set aside the fact that the room is filled with smoke, you're disoriented, you can't find squat. On top of that, that room is filled with carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
Nobody's even waking up. when
Yeah.
that smoke alarm eventually goes off.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, it goes off every time I make toast, so I know it's ultra sensitive and I'm going to be fine. The problem is that that is responding to a flaming type of signature that burnt toast gives off or burnt foods give off. They don't go off when you have a slow smoldering fire. And so just about every time when you hear about somebody dying in a fire and they say they had working smoke alarms, it's because they had ionization alarms. That's what leads to deaths.
Okay, so we have photoelectric. What's
Yep.
the mechanism? How does it work? How is it different than the ionization?
Well, a photoelectric sensor senses the big smoke cells. It actually has a light that passes through this chamber, and if the light gets obstructed by smoke, that's when it sets off the alarm. It needs to see that. And so I guess the one downside of these is that they do need to be periodically vacuumed. You got to take a wet dry vac or something and put the nozzle up to the smoke alarm and kind of suck dust off the sensor, because if you do get a bunch of dust in there, you'll get nuisance alarms. And I think they're programmed to only go off at like 3 a.m. when
Exactly.
Yeah. Or after you shower, if you've got one in the hallway and a
Yep.
steamy shower, no fan, and yeah.
So every day this happens in our house because my wife takes a shower and then she lights incense at the altar. And sometimes we leave the fan on and sometimes not. But whenever the bath fan's not left on, there's enough draw on her, because the furnace fan's running all the time. It draws it back into the nearest bedroom. We only have 14 smoke alarms up there next to all of the bedroom. But it goes off every night. It's like
Yeah.
clockwork.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they work.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Bottom line is there's a huge difference between these two types of smoke alarms, and we're a huge advocate of photoelectric. I mean, we've mentioned this during every home inspection we do. Even if we don't actually talk about it on site, we check the type of smoke alarm people have.
And we put that recommendation in our report.
Exactly.
So if somebody wanted to go and look at their device right now and understand what it is, what's the shortcut to knowing what you have?
Most smoke alarms will say right on the back. So you can twist it, pull it off, and you can look at the underside of it, and it'll say ionization on it. Or if you see the word radioactive on it anywhere on the back, that is ionization as well. If it's photoelectric, a lot of times the photoelectric ones like say it right on the side, and you don't even have to pull it down. You can see the word photoelectric.
Yeah, or you'll see an embossed P on the underside of it. That's the side that you can see.
Yeah.
You'll have an embossed
The
P
face
on
of it.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say, though, it's pretty safe to say if you yourself haven't sought out and purchased a photoelectric smoke alarm, it's probably ionization in your house.
I couldn't have said it any better, Tess.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Even in new construction houses.
Yes.
That's what they put in.
Wait a second.
That's worth repeating.
Even in new construction houses, they are typically ionization smoke alarms. They
Yeah.
don't
you don't
have
get the
photoelectric.
Cadillac on new construction?
I'll tell you, you
No.
say typically, Tess.
All the time.
I have never, not once,
Yeah.
found a photoelectric smoke alarm in new construction.
I haven't either.
It doesn't exist.
And why is that?
It's because electricians buy smoke alarms by the pallet because they're doing new construction homes, and ionization alarms cost like $5 less a piece. And
So
when
that's
you're
not the
buying them by
builder's
1,000, it's a
decision.
big
That's the
deal.
electrician's decision, probably.
Probably.
The builder
I
could
don't-
specify if they wanted, but the problem is most people don't even know that
Nobody
there's a
knows,
difference.
Nobody cares.
They don't know what photoelectric is, they don't know what ionization is, and they don't care. And so they're just looking for the cheapest one available.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this segment, but I have one quick question. You have a brand new house, you've got a brand new ionization. It's hardwired because they're all hardwired now. You pop that little bad boy off. Can you just click in a new photoelectric and put it right in there, and it's just a 30-second DIY job?
That's exactly what it is. You got to get the same type. I mean, there's two brands that kind of dominate the market. You're going to have First Alert and Kidda, and you get the same one. It's going to have the same quick connect fitting. You pop it right back in. That's all there is to it. It's a really simple job.
Is that how you say it? Kidda?
Kidda, not
Oh.
Kitty.
I
said
always
Kitty
thought
for a
it was
long time.
Kitty.
Right?
Yeah, I
or
always
just
did
kid.
too.
Yeah.
But if I heard it on their website, I was watching one of the videos, and they call themselves Kidda.
Kidda.
So,
All right.
Okay, we're going to step away and take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to kind of button up this smoke alarm conversation and then move on to carbon monoxide alarms. You've been listening to Structure Talk, a Structure Tech presentation.
Hi, everyone. Bill Ulrich from Structure Talk. We talk a lot about maintenance on the podcast. If you're like me, I'd rather be doing anything other than maintaining my house. Problem is, my neglectful nature can bring unexpected surprises. So what's a fantasy football fan like me to do? Punt! That's why I recommend Cura Home Maintenance. They actually like home maintenance, and they're happy to do it for you. For a couple dollars a day, they'll keep your home on track. They free you up to enjoy your weekends. Check them out at curahome.com. That's K-U-R-A home.com. Gotta get back to the game.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Structure Talk, a Structure Tech presentation. My name is Bill Ulrich. I'm alongside Tessa Murray and Ruben Saltzman, and we're talking all things alarms and safety devices in your home on today's episode. And nobody can see Ruben giving me the high five that I actually got it right, but I did. I know the difference between an alarm and a detector. So let's get back to this. So how often are we replacing these devices? Tell me more.
Every 10 years, the manufacturer states smoke alarms every 10
years. Is that standard across the board?
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard.
Yeah,
every 10 years, replace them.
Has it always been 10 years?
I don't know any time it hasn't.
Yeah,
I'm going to say
either.
yes. I'll go with yes.
So can we, until we have a hard yes here, we're just going to follow the manufacturer's recommendations for replacement, correct?
Correct.
Well, and it's 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, you're saying has it always been 10 years? I don't know what it was 40 years ago. Maybe it wasn't.
But 10 years ago, it was 10 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
So then every 10 years.
Yeah. And if you've got one on your ceiling that's yellow, kind of mustardy color, chances are it's over 10 years old.
Yeah,
You touch the plastic
that's
and
what
it
we call a
breaks.
tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know. If it's yellow, it's more than 10
Yeah.
years old. Yeah, and if you want to know for sure, I mean, like Tessa said before, you'd give it that a little twist. You look at the backside, it's going to have a date code on there. If it doesn't have a date code, it's definitely more than
old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
They've been doing date codes for like at least the last 15 years. So
Even
yeah,
longer.
probably so.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the new connectivity of these devices. There's new codes about these, and I have an old house. Everybody knows I have an old house. I've only said it 85 times. But how do I connect a bunch of them? I'm not going to run a new wire.
Well, sure. And, you're talking about connecting them. They don't have to be hardwired. It's fine to have battery-operated smoke alarms. I mean, the current standard, if you're building a new home, they're going to be hardwired with a battery backup. But on old homes, it's perfectly fine to just have single-station, battery-operated smoke alarms. And side note on that topic, the current standard of safety is a smoke alarm in every room, ideally installed on the ceiling, right in the middle of the room. Next best place would be on the ceiling, away from the middle, but somewhere on the ceiling, that's ideal. And then a smoke alarm in a common area on every level. So that's where you want to have them. If you don't have them in these places, get some.
Okay, so point of clarification. You just said every room.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant
did.
to say sleeping room.
Okay,
My
I thought I
apologies.
was hearing things.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
sleep-
Okay.
every
You don't
sleeping
need
room.
27 smoke alarms
No.
in a really
Sorry.
nice house.
Thank you. I'm glad you picked that up.
Awesome.
Yeah, every sleeping room and one in a common area on every level.
Okay.
So that's where they should be located. And the current standard is they got to be hardwired. But old house, you can't do that. It's fine. But if you really want to go all out and make it as safe as possible, you can get wirelessly interconnected smoke alarms. So that if you've got a big house and you've got one going off down in the basement, you sleep up on the second floor, and you want to know about this fire going on down there and you're a heavy sleeper, you get them interconnected. So if one goes off in the basement, they all go off.
It's wirelessly connected? Do you have to set up a wireless network for that?
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be connected to your Wi-Fi. I'm sure there probably are some that are connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But the smoke alarms just connect to each other. I think I'll be wrong about this, but I think First Alert's version of that is called OneLink. That's the brand of their type of smoke alarm where they wirelessly interconnect. I installed them in my mother-in-law's home. She's got an older home. I wanted to make sure she had the best protection there. And, one year for Christmas, awesome Christmas present, I got her photoelectric smoke alarms, which were wirelessly connected, and I put those in at her house.
You're so practical.
She's so lucky to have a son-in-law like you.
Yeah, super exciting gift. But
Did she understand, the importance
She
of that?
got it.
Did
She
you
got it.
tell
She
her about
reads my blog.
photoelectric? Okay.
oh yeah,
She reads
yeah,
your
she
blog.
reads the blog. Oh, she's a big fan. Yeah, that's Jan. She's awesome.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a bunch of photoelectric interconnected smoke alarms.
Yeah, well, just what I've always dreamed about. But it's like, no, we're keeping families safe. You might not want it, but I
Keeping
care
family
about
members
you.
alive one
I
person
want
at
this-
a time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move on to carbon monoxide alarms. I have 2 questions about carbon monoxide alarms. Where do they have to be located? How often do you change them? That's already 2. So now I have 3. And are you truly protected with a carbon monoxide alarm? Like, is
Sure.
it going to tell you if there's what levels of carbon monoxide are in your home?
All right, I'll tell you, the basic requirement is you're supposed to have CO alarms within 10 feet of every sleeping room. That is the Minnesota statute. It was a statute up until 2015, and then it became a rule, which meant building officials had the right to enforce this. So it is a rule now. You need a CO alarm within 10 feet of every sleeping room. And what was your other one? How often you replace it? It depends. Now, it always used to be either 5 or 7 years, depending on the manufacturer. But then when they started making all these CO alarms that were CO and smoke alarm combination devices, people like me, I started telling people don't buy those devices because now you got to replace it after maybe 5 years or after 7 years, whereas smoke alarms are good for 10 years. So this is just stupid. Don't buy them. Well, then the manufacturers magically increased the shelf life on these to 10 years. So now all the manufacturers say CO alarms, they're good for 10 years.
So you strike me as the person who would actually dig into that a little bit and understand, did they do more testing to make sure that alarm that was in there was different than the 5-year alarm?
I never dug into it, but you know what I think. I think that they crossed off 5
Yeah.
and wrote 10. I think that's as much as went into it as anything. That I think it was just a change.
Is it the sensor that actually goes bad on it then, on those CO alarms? I mean,
I think that's the concern. Yeah,
because
the sensor won't
I
be as
see
sensitive.
so many CO alarms that are really old when I do
Yes.
home inspections.
Like
Like
30 years
oh,
old.
yeah,
Yeah.
like older than me sometimes, like plugged into a wall and the Nighthawk,
that doesn't
you know.
mean much, Tessa.
Well, over 30 years old, you know, like the Nighthawks, they're still there and they're
Yes.
plugged in, but they're not good. They're not good anymore.
No,
you're saying.
those need to be replaced.
Our home had a recent meltdown with one that expired.
Oh.
And it decided to let us know that until it was in 48 pieces on the ground in my garage, it wasn't going to stop making a noise.
Yeah.
How old was it?
10 years. It was
Really?
yeah.
And it went out with a bang.
Oh yeah. Okay, so tell me about the levels that they're picking up on.
If you have a CO alarm and it goes off, it's a life-threatening issue. Those alarms are meant to go off to tell you to get out of the house and to save your life. And I can't remember exactly what levels. Usually they'll only go off if it's over 50 parts per million.
I'm sure it's definitely over
50 parts per million, but for a very long period of time. And the higher that level gets in your house, the shorter amount of time it takes for it to go off. So, I mean, it'll go off immediately if you have over like hundreds of parts per million.
Yeah, I
in
think
your
if you're
house.
like 800 parts per million,
Yeah.
it's got to go off within like 30 seconds or
Yes.
something like that. We don't have the standards memorized.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got to be at that elevation for that length of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a complicated device, actually.
It
Yeah.
is. The point is, though, like you can have low levels of carbon monoxide or even moderate levels, in
Yeah,
my
enough
opinion.
enough to make you feel kind of sick.
Yeah, enough to give you
all
flu
the
symptoms.
time.
Yeah, it could give you a headache, it could make you tired, feel ill, nausea, all those things, and your CO alarm will never go off.
So is there another device you can put in that would detect much lower levels?
Yeah, there are low level CO alarms, and actually one of the guys on our team, he bought a bunch of them because he had, was it a family member who had carbon monoxide poisoning from low levels in their house? They finally figured out what it was. And so he bought a bunch of these and asked if anyone on the team wanted some. And I was like, yes, please. I have a water heater that is in my bathroom area in our condo. And so I'm obviously paranoid that my water heater is going to backdraft and I'm going to die while I'm sleeping.
You, the
So-
building scientist, paranoid about
Yeah.
a failure in
Oh
one
man,
of the
I could go
home
on and on with
systems?
all the things wrong in my condo, but yeah, so I have one installed in my bedroom that's monitoring for low levels of carbon
Yeah,
monoxide.
and I've got one too. I think just about everybody at Structure Tech owns one of these, a low level CO detector, it's called.
Okay, so that's a different device. It's probably a little more expensive, I would.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
about $100 each, something like that.
I think we got a deal on them because Dustin bought them in a big pack. So
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, we
probably,
ordered
if you
like
order.
20 of them from the manufacturer,
Yeah.
and I think at 20, you got a good quantity break on
Yeah.
them.
So
we
over
do-
$100 probably.
Well, we're getting close to the end here, but is there any other safety device you would recommend that people throw in their home?
Just turn on your kitchen hood vents when you're cooking over your gas stove.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Hopefully you have a vent that vents the outside. And if you don't, open a window.
Interesting note.
If you're baking too.
Okay. So 5 hours with the turkey in the oven.
That's why people get sleepy. Carbon monoxide. Where does your stove vent to?
The
Into your
inside.
face. Into your Yeah.
Yeah, lung filtered.
It's a combustion appliance that vents the inside of your house.
Very interesting news. I had no idea. I am here with a puzzled look on my face. I really didn't.
Well, and
even
most people don't
about it.
think about it. And it's not, you are not required by code to have a kitchen hood vent that vents to the outside when you have a gas range.
Yeah, so Tess, when you say turn on your kitchen fan, that's with an asterisk.
If you have one.
If
Yeah.
you have one that vents to the
outside.
outdoors, doesn't just
Most people
recirculate.
don't, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, even new construction houses, nice ones, they'll just have a recirculating vent hood on the microwave or something else.
Yeah, we'll talk to a lot of our clients who hire us for the new construction inspections. They'll say, yeah, we had to pay extra.
Yeah.
to
Oh,
have
yeah.
The builder put
Usually
this
it's
vent
at
into the
least
outside.
$1,000 extra to do
Yeah.
that.
There you go. That's the tip of the day, and you probably want to know to have that ductwork put in before they drywall went up. But wow, you've been listening to Structure Talk, a Structure Tech presentation. Thanks everybody for listening.
For more information on how we can provide you with the right information about your home before you buy or sell, contact us at structuretech1.com.